A new U.S. president will be chosen in this fall's general election, of course, but the arguably more important races are right here in mid-Missouri. Who will you choose to serve and protect you here at home? It's easy to assume that since a person's qualified to appear on an official ballot, somebody, somewhere, must have vetted that candidate. I mean, I had to pass a background check myself before I could get hired here at ABC 17 News. But as I ask in this special report, who's watching the people who are supposed to be watching after us? The sheriff of Osage County was in a Boone County courtroom just this week, accused of pointing a loaded handgun at another officer's head in a Hartsburg bar. The same sheriff who's already on probation for harassing a police officer. And recently, Pulaski County commissioners refused to swear in a newly re-elected town marshal after the town's top cop was indicted by a grand jury on multiple charges, including falsifying police reports. With some mid-Missouri law enforcement officers seemingly gone wild, it really got my attention when I received this anonymous letter. It contained allegations against a candidate for sheriff of Saline County. This letter stood out because the candidate is running for that county's top law enforcement job after its longtime sheriff was forced out of office after stealing taxpayer money. The letter claims Jesse Coslett, one of the 9 candidates for Saline County Sheriff, is a felon. And as a felon, he's ineligible to run for office, according to Missouri law. But is Coslett a felon?
No.
We'll get back to that in a moment. Chapter 115 of the Missouri Revised Statutes clearly states no person shall qualify as a candidate for elective public office in the state of Missouri who has been found guilty or pled guilty to a felony under the laws of this state. A candidate must sign an affidavit attesting to the fact that they're not a felon. But who checks this stuff? I called the State Attorney General's office, the Secretary of State's office, area prosecutors, and various county clerks' offices. It's a common belief among voters that when a person qualifies for office, the candidate is investigated or somewhat vetted. But as Saline County Clerk Debbie Russell points out, that's not the case at all.
Once that you sign an affidavit stating that you've not been, say, a convicted felon or that you do not owe any taxes, that alleviates me from that responsibility. My responsibility is strictly for the candidate filing portion of that. So I don't have to do that.
So it's not your job to do a background check?
That is correct. We don't. If I would choose to do that, it would be for my own voting purposes as a private citizen, if I chose to do it, but I'm not under any legal obligation to do that.
Russell says even when she wants to do more research on a candidate, it's on the verge of inappropriate for the official in charge of free and fair elections to get involved in political battles. Since it's our job as journalists to hold accountable those who seek influence and power, I checked out some of the claims made against the candidate for sheriff. Jesse Coslett is practically a public figure already. He's a battalion chief for the Marshall Fire Department and an employee of the Saline County Sheriff's Office. He also holds positions on the Saline County Ambulance District and the county's 911 Commission. When I started checking into Coslett's background, there is no felony conviction, but there is evidence of efforts to get something expunged or removed. That something is a case with a suspended imposition of sentence. That's a court sentencing term that allows a person to be found or plead guilty to an offense without it showing up on the person's record, almost like it's not really there. Almost. It doesn't show up as to not hurt a person's chance of getting a job, even if that job is county sheriff. Coslett took all of my calls to answer questions. He even came from Marshall to our studios in Columbia to address the issue. He chose not to discuss what was not appearing on his record, but says the letter and allegations are just politics.
And I knew this would start, just because apparently I'm the only threat to out of all the candidates that's running. And I'm not backing down.
Although Saline County Prosecuting Attorney Don Stouffer refused to talk about any details of a possible past case against Coslett, he did tell me Coslett is not a felon. As far as the way Coslett is handling the allegations and claims,
you're not a felon.
No.
You're not going to get out of the race.
No.
And you said if you don't win?
So be it. If the citizens don't want Jesse Coslett as the sheriff of Saline County, I'm good with what I'm doing. I'm still going to serve the citizens of the county, the city.
And when it comes to assuming that someone's been vetted just because a candidate's name appears on an official ballot?
That cannot be an assumption, honestly. You need to educate yourself. You need to take it upon yourself as a voter to make intelligent decisions, and to me that would be, doing your own investigating. you have reason to believe someone's not who they say they are, or if they've got some type of background issue that may be an issue for you or for the community, then that's up to you to find that out and then make your best educated decision at that point.
And by the way, falsifying any information to an election official is a felony in Missouri. Although the Secretary of State's office has no prosecutorial power, that has to be handled by the Attorney General's office or a local prosecutor, depending on the election. A bill has been passed in both chambers to give the Secretary of State power to prosecute people who aren't truthful. It's in a House committee tonight. Now, I've posted an extended interview about this issue with Saline County Clerk Debbie Russell. That's on our website, abc17news.com.